Hello, humans of the internet. Welcome to Azurhia Under the Hood. Today I'm going to show you a new thing. So I was having some plays on the internet about skill trees and the building of skill trees, and I found this tool called Oblivion. I know nothing about it, except that I spent several hours playing with it the other day, over the weekend. And I'll show you what I've done. So I started popping, where have I put it? So I started throwing in things from Pathfinder, and my concept is that each of these will have their own little thing, so that when we build skill trees, we can just drag and drop them. We're going to test that out today. That's my plan. I did some of the input so that we can so I could kind of get my head around how it worked. But what I actually want to do is put the ones we've created in and see if it's going to do what I think it's going to do. So I've started with this canvas. So essentially what it is, it's building flowcharts, right? So the idea is that we are going to have, basically what I want to try to do is build a flowchart that allows people to essentially follow it to create their character. So we're going to start with a card that is going to say choose a category. Now if you can edit this, you just got to accept it's formatting. That's going to bother me that I can't edit the text. That's okay. We'll deal with that problem later. All right, so choose a category. Ancestry categories. I'm going to make some folders. Very loosely are animal people, constructs. The constructs would include androids, automatons, the plant made up people that we turn leshies into, basically, and so forth. I'm going to call it Bloodspark. That's not how you spell spark. Yeah, so those are people who have like a celestial spark, a phase spark, essentially tieflings, blah blah blah. Those kind of folk. And then we're going to have a. Got a few of those. Classic core. Classic core is dwarfs, elves, halflings. You know the ones that are in everything. They don't fit into any of these things. I suppose we could say they were Fae. Sorry, I realize you can only see one of my screens. Efalahi are the reincarnated memory people. We'll come back to them. Dwarves, animals, halflings, hobs are Fae, humans are human, although they could go in the classic box. Elemental. Oh, yes, that's the one I want. Elves, fish, elemental. The idea behind categorizing them like that, this is to give people, like I want to play an animal person. Like it just puts them into kind of categories of hopefully just makes it a bit easier for people to choose. Otherwise, it's very overwhelming. There's a lot of I guess we could just have. I hate the word exotic to describe people, but uncategorizable. The only ones that don't fit anywhere else are the shadow people, who I suppose they could classify as elemental, and we can maybe put the Efalahi into. We just make them Fey. Just make them Fey. Oh, I suppose they could be classified as Bloodspark, sort of. No, not really. Oh, they're the only ones that don't fit in anywhere else. The only ones. I might just put them into that Bloodspark category, just for simplicity. Okay, so now that we have those categories, we are going to go. Wow, Jax. Animal. People. The. How many do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. I'm going to move them along, but 7, so I'm going to need one that comes from. Yeah, I know my lines are weird, but don't worry, it's not going to stay that way because we're going to do this. Then we have constructs. We have elementals. Have Fae. We have plant people. Alright, so basically pick one of those guys. Alright, so I'm just gonna spread it out a little. Gonna be a lot under each of these, but we can also spread as we go, as it were. I really want there to be like evenly distribute, or Reset zoom. Woo. Set. Do. Okay, that's fine. So this is new to me, so I'm also figuring it out myself, right? But that's okay. I kind of want to... That one. There. Just because then it's nice and symmetrical. Hello, I like symmetry. Alrighty. So now, in each of these, we're going to do a folder. The reason I'm doing the folders as well is because eventually you can have things in the folders that you can just drag on. So you can drag on images, you can drag on references to notes, and then cross references to those notes. It's beautiful. Beautiful. And the whole point is that when someone comes to make a character, they can go, okay, which of these things, and then just follow the lines down. That's what I'm going for, because ultimately what I create here is going to get turned into a character creation tool of some sort, which might, hopefully I will get some assistance from one of my programmer friends, but it might, I honestly could do this on Google Forms if I had to. So alright, so new folder under animal people. We have Aranya, have Akadis. Androids are under constructs. Arahe is Bloodspark. Aravati are animal people. Smani are Bloodspark. Turn our constructs. Balu. Balu. Just fun to say. Balu. I think we have more animal people than anything else. That's fun. Given my audience, I think that will be okay. Ambien. Changeling of Fae. Dika are constructs. Dryads are... Dryads are tricky because they're both of the things, but I'm going to put them in plant people because that feels more accurate. Classic. I'm going to make distinctions between the different... Unica, Efalahi, we decided we were going to put in Bloodspark. I think that's the closest. Galassi are elves, so we'll make an elf folder. Badari are animal people. Gnomes are classic. Goblins, I'm gonna argue, are classic. Brakar are dwarves. Guagua. Guagua. It's another one that's fun to say. Those are the frog peeps. Halflings are classic. Hob are fae. Humans are classic. Still don't really understand why you would want to play a human, but each to their own, as they say. Elemental. Sati. Gaskin are elves. Last animals. Ah, I'm having a thought. No, we're going to stick with this for now. I was thinking that we should take the classic core out because we're building a world here, and maybe having that concept of something that is like all the elves could go into Fae easily. But I don't know what else to call, like human, dwarf. Gnomes could be Fae. Halfling. It's only humans. Everything else I can put somewhere else. Because dwarfs, I could just make their own thing. Because we have elves, we can also make their own thing because we have subcategories. Gnomes can be Fae. Goblins can be Fae. Halflings and humans are the tricky ones. I feel like halflings are closer to humans than Fae. Unless we literally just make it like something like that. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Okay, we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. So we've got Jaskin, we've got Kalasta, Karu, Elemental. The reason I'm veering away from the idea of using the classic is because I kind of want it to be ultimately separated. Like obviously I'm using a lot of Pathfinder and D&D inspiration for a lot of the things because those are the TTRPGs I've worked in the most. And it seems dumb to reinvent the wheel completely. But ultimately I want this thing to be its own thing. So having too much reference back to that, while it's fine in the process, the ultimate product, I don't want it to have that. So pulling out that concept of classic puts everything on an equal footing. It's not like, well, you can play a classic race like dwarves, or you could play an interesting race. You know, it's like everything's its own, holds its own weight, if that makes sense. That's my logic. That's why I'm getting a little bit stuck on this. And I know it's just semantics, but sometimes words matter, folks. Words matter. Kitsune. Kobolds. See, now kobolds also don't entirely... I suppose they're actually sort of animal people. Hunter. Luparis. Mara. Look, stop jumping around. Oh. Certainly some of these ancestries cross over these lines, but I'm trying to just sort of put people in the most logical spot. Like, given how big the animal people one is, it might be worth putting the specifically undersea folks. So, like I'll show you what I'm looking at. Oh, we haven't actually hit any yet. That's probably why I didn't. Like Calasta, maybe. Hello, how many animal people are there currently? Lots, it turns out. Like the specifically sea. Okay. Like the Molia is the one that I'm thinking actually those kinds of things are all. Nah, let's stick with it for now. I'll put this back here. Also, good morning. Molia. Hello. Cow. Orcs. God damn it. Where did orcs go? You missed me having a debate with myself about how to classify humans, halflings, and now apparently orcs. I'm gonna put them in here for now. Oi! Why'd you jump around? I've got human-based as the name, but I hate it, and I want something else. What are you doing, Jax? There we go. We'll see if we can find a way to make them... The irony of not being able to... Yes, so I started with that, and then I decided that I didn't actually want to use that as a classification because it immediately puts weight on things as being classic or not classic. Whereas I want all of these things to have essentially similar weight. And while some will be rarer within Azurhia as a place, that rarity is not necessarily based on you know, how classic they are in the TTRPG world, you know? Have a plant people. What about the law of these races? Relate them to each other. Relate them to each other, then classify. Yeah. Yeah. That's sort of what I'm doing, kind of. Do you mean like where they came from? Is that what you're getting at? Like some of them are really obvious. You know, like obviously we have lots of different kind of elves, so we're going to group the elves. We have different kinds of dwarfs, so we're going to group the dwarfs. Fae is obvious. Like, is their origin fairy essentially? Um, Orcs could fall into a giant category, but I don't think we have anything else that is a giant. Halflings and humans feel like things that are very close to each other. And what I'm thinking is like they're the ordinary mortals, for want of a better way to put it. But then other people in this, you know, like the animal people are easy because that's people who have evolved into the gap between animal and people, right? Um, and that comes, yeah, yeah, yeah. I get what you're saying. Um, but then we're getting into like the complex evolution of the whole planet, which is a lot. All right, where were we? I did Fenua, I think. Yep. Did I did Restlini, didn't I? Plant folk. Yep. Okay. Sagara. Yep. I just apparently left Ramevi out. Cool. Alright, so Runyi. We'll have to go through and check that I didn't miss anything. Keeps jumping. This music makes my ADHD brain happy. Okay, elementals. Sylph. Nope. Sylph. As in real life, once you start to classify things, you always encounter things that don't fit any of your classifications. Let me introduce you to hyenas. Also, Tuatara. Tuatara don't fit anywhere either. Fun fact. Because they are, to a layperson, a lot like a lizard. But it turns out that on a like genus level, they don't fit. I don't know that much about this, but I know that they don't fit neatly into the lizard category. There are things about them that don't fit for whatever reason, because they're actually technically dinosaurs. Like tuataras have been around since dinosaur times, and so they're a throwback to like an old a genus system before we even had genus systems, because yeah, that's also true. That's kind of what I've done. If I can't figure out which of my categories to put them in, that's what that human based category is. I just don't know what to call it. I don't know what you are yet. You don't fit. I'm also absolutely certain I'm going to think of other ancestries that we haven't covered here as we go along, which is fine. But yeah, it just means building them in. See, this animal, it's so big because we went down that whole rabbit hole about it. It's great. Oh, you know what? You know what? I'm actually going to put Undines into the sea, undersea. G. You may need to further break down the animal people category a bit. That's fine. Then Simvu. Because, okay, so we've got the animal, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them, that's fine. The blood sparks are people who have something in their blood that comes out. And I've put the Efalahi there, even though they don't entirely fit there, but it feels like the most logical place for them. Constructs, things that are made. Dwarfs are dwarfs. Elementals are obvious. Oh, I've got an untitled. Please go away. Yes. Elves. Oh, no, wrong button. Okay. These are my oddballs. Plants, undersea. Yeah. I wonder about having, because it would be quite fun to have more giantish races, especially because we have a whole kingdom of giants. It does raise problems for a player, but I suppose it doesn't. There's no reason you can't play a large character if you can play a tiny character, right? If you can play a sprite, why not a giant, right? Because then things like orcs and giants can go together, and we can also have different kinds of giants. So I might go down that route for them. So I'm going to go giantish. I'm going to move the orcs into the giantish category. Move the humans. No. The orcs, please. Thank you. So I don't actually know. Let's look at Goliaths for a hot second. Oh, I've got 50,000 things open. Here, this is the one I was. This is part of what I was working on yesterday. So what is the actual? They're just big peeps. Is that all? Big blue guys. Oh, so the marks are actually natural marks. They're not. I always just assumed they were tattoos. Competitive. I don't care about personality. I mean, I care about personality, but ancestry, don't bring that at me. So they're just like big. Oh, I understand. Gotcha. Okay. Okay. So the answer to your original question then is no, because I feel like orcs are their own thing. Oh, you're going to send me down like an evolution of Azurhia path, and that's a dangerous, dangerous game. Dangerous game. All right. Goliaths are 100% D&D, so I don't want to use Goliaths. But I think that we could just have giants. And have like mountain giant, wood giant, like similar to what we've done with the elves and the dwarves, but with giants. And then orcs would be essentially, because basically orcs are just Tolkien, right? That's where that comes from. Just and Tolkien. I don't want the Otago Regional Council. Thank you, but no. Like that's where they originate. Is the Tolkien orc, right? Yeah. So I think they were actually essentially bred Yeah. But Tolkien orcs are not complex beings, whereas all of my characters are complex beings. So then I guess the question becomes, where did orcs come from on Azurhia? And I guess that's where you have just. I like the idea of having giantish races because we've got sprites and we've got like the little people that live in the forest. And no, it's a good question. These are good questions, and the reason they're good questions is because we make these assumptions, right? Like especially with the ancestries that are just in everything, elves, humans, meh, halflings, blah. Like they're all like, do we actually need halflings if we've got gnomes, we've got hobs, we've got sprites, we've got chinini. What are halflings bringing? Could halflings just go in that fae category? Probably. Um, do we just take humans out? That is also a thing. Like, do we just go, there are no humans. Humans are not a thing. Because, oh, it's a big one because it changes the whole world. Like, it means I've got to go back and there's a whole bunch of NPCs I have to recast as something else because, um, but is that so bad? Do we just have a world with no humans? I've never really understood the appeal of playing a human in a TTRPG, to be honest, um, because it feels like a default. And if I just spend a whole bunch of time debating with myself about why defaults are dumb, maybe we take the default away. Maybe we just remove it. Because halflings could be fae. And a lot of the time, even in. Sorry, I'm thinking that's why I've gone quiet. A lot of the time, even in. Like if we go to. In Pathfinder, we go to humans. Iberan's take on orc and goblins. Oh, cool. No, I haven't, is the short answer. Because this is always how they're described, right? In D&D, it's the same. It's just like they're diverse and adaptable because they're the default. They're the baseline. Maybe we don't want a default. Maybe we don't want a baseline. Maybe the problem, and then versatile. A lot of versatile heritages come out of humans, if I remember correctly. Yeah, like all of these are basically just you're a person, but you have some other thing going on. Oh, we haven't done dragon people at all. Is another thing we've just missed. And I actually want to build in a mechanic for essentially having parents from different ancestries and what that does to you. Because yeah, all of these are like you're a person, but there's something else going on there. I'm like, well, does that just make humans a blank canvas? Like, do we just take them out? Maybe we just take them out. Maybe we just take them out. Okay, I am also going to just go draconic. We're going to make some draconic. That's why Eberron was so controversial way back when. They made no evil races, just bad regions. Bro. I wasn't playing D&D back then, but I would have been like, oh, duh. Duh. I'm going to just take humans out for now. And see if we miss them. Because I'm I'm not convinced that we need them. I'm not convinced that we need them. And yes, that means I'm going to have to reskin a lot of my NPCs because I have a lot of human NPCs because it's easy. But that's the point, isn't it? That it's always easy. Why would humans be on this world? Maybe we don't need them. Maybe we don't need them. Okay. So, this is now gone. Do we have now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Wait, I just want to look at... I feel like there was something else I saw and went, oh, we don't have that. The plane of law. Yeah, we have plenty of Beast Kenny style things. I think we didn't. We took vampires out, eh? As a. We don't really have any undead races, and we also haven't gone too deeply into the like Darklands. What if you make humans a new race you want that does not exist in other worlds? Maybe. I've kind of done that with some of them already. Seeing if there's anything. I do like the reflection. I feel like we had a lot of fun with that. Something you have in your brain that does not fit in the other industries. I mean, I've done that. Like anything that has triggered in my brain is kind of already there. Like we have there are some that I've made up. Like my changelings are nothing like anybody else's changelings. Like my changelings are 100% Jax. I feel like we need more Darklands things. And actually these guys can go in there. I did not expect the reflection thing to be so controversial in season 2. You gave me so much possibility for story juice though. And you let Malachi do like his cool you know, succulent thing. That was fun. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. Let's go with that for now. And we will see. So that needs to actually... Oh, God. Be gone. Come over here. We want you to be alphabetical. Otherwise, I'm going to get super confused. Alright. And then... Darklands. Draconic. Nope. Some characters were so wary of Eldarin when they found out he was not quite what he seemed to be. It's so good though. Like, you love that stuff. Love it. Dwarfs. I alternate wildly between dwarfs and dwarves. I'm just saying. I use both. And I am unapologetic about it. Because technically, you can do that. Okay, and then we have, I've got this random box here. What are you even doing here? Go away. Okay. Elves. Like elves come out of fairy essentially, but wait, I've done this wrong. There are 12, right? So let's evenly distribute. then I will move it so that it's prettier in a minute once I've got it done. Fae and then giantish. Are your elves descended from Fae plants? Some law has that. And no, because we have plant peeps already. Like plants are their own thing. And then undersea. Okay. we're just gonna move out a bit here. And put a... And just... Oh, I've got an error here. Okay, so you need to come from here, please. Create group. Align. Ooh, okay, this is what I wanted. Because then I can do this. You see, I can go over here, and you go over here, and then if we select all of them, we can distribute horizontal spacing, and it will evenly distribute them. Align top. Okay, and then because hello, I'm me, I'm gonna actually make them all be the same size. They don't seem to be aligned, but they claim to be aligned, so I'm going to trust it. I also really want to be able to make the text bigger, but I haven't worked out how to do that yet. Okay, and then if I zoom back out again. Line top. Look like they're all the same now. Then distribute horizontal. Awesome, okay. Do you have a way of... Nope, that just gives me colors. Oh, cool, okay. Alright, I'm hoping that I'll eventually figure out how to... Oop, I keep doing that. How to make the text bigger. It seems like a very basic thing that you should be able to do. But... It doesn't matter too much because it is intended as a... Like, this is intended simply as a way of working out how things connect, if that makes sense. Alright, so animal people is humongous. Do we really want to start with the biggest one? Maybe not. Let's start with something easy. Let's start with elves. So, we then have... So now, if we add a note, then we put the text from our description. Where is it? LSE. Right. There we go. face. Cool. Because I think then I can go back into the elves. I can literally just do this. Boom! And what that means is if I change the description in any way, it will adjust it here too. Which is awesome, because everything's connected. So then if I go in here and I say Glacier Snow Elves, additionally they originate on Marama, where they live in small communities, for example. And then I go back here and I zoom into this, and it's already adjusted it. Amazing! So that's awesome. And it means that edit everywhere. It does mean that this thing is going to get enormous, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, because we can do a big start here, and then the rest will just thing. It might even be a web rather than a down, but down makes sense to my brain right now, so that's what we're going to go with. All right, so elves, and then we have Jaskin. So we're going to make a note here for Jaskin. Again, this is where it gets interesting, because do I then here link it to Darklands as well? Animal people might need to go in their own direction. Well, the thing about a web though is like Jaskin, right? If I'm putting Jaskin in, they are elves. They're also Darklands, so I can link to both. Do either of those things. It's going to make it messy though, but each race gets it. Well, it will eventually, because the idea is that what this is it's a choose your own adventure, right? So you pick which category do I want to be in, and then you dive into that category, and then you have these choices of thing, and then you dive into that, and then each. So this is going to end up being humongous, because it's also going to have all the, but the idea is that it's a logic structure for the character building. This is not the tool people use to build the character. This is the logical structure for that tool, if you see what I mean. So Jaskin, for example, could actually be in the elves or in the Darklands. Both of those things. Yeah? Because they're elves, but they traditionally come from the Darklands. So what I'm going to need to do, probably, now that I've just spent all this time categorizing everything, is make a row here that's all the ancestries, and then just link the categories to the different ancestries that they fit into. And then probably actually get rid of my categories here and just have a folder for each ancestry. That's probably where we're going to end up, because that's going to make more sense from a information management point of view. Because the moment you have beings that exist in more than one environment, or come from more than one origin, yeah, it's going to get tricky. It's going to get tricky. So that might actually, you're watching me figure out the process, which I know is the point of the stream, but yeah, it's a whole thing. So like, So maybe we don't have Darklands because that's a place. Just like we don't have, so these guys can go back into these categories. So we get rid of this. Be gone. Yes. So I wonder if we can just do this. Can I just put a thing here? Will you let me do that? No. Okay, that's fine. And then also undersea. So these are actually animal people. Undine are actually elementals. I don't know what Mero fall into then. I suppose Mero technically could be Bloodspark. Remove the undersea because that's a location. So instead of having the locations, we have the like essential origin, if that makes sense. Like we're categorizing them by something essential about their. I mean, these categories are always going to be loose categories anyway, but it means that then, so, oh, I keep forgetting to control. Where'd you go? Okay, so we still have animals, we still have large parks. Get rid of Darklands. I like that it removes all the links as well. That's good. Draconic, we still have dwarves, elemental, elves. A giantish, plants, and this one goes away. I feel like that makes more sense, right? And it's even still symmetrical. Look at that. Cool. Okay. Alright, so let's go back to our elves. Yeah, that feels like it makes more sense. Alright, so actually I am going to do this in order because I'm going to do it in alphabetical order from the spreadsheet, because also what that will add is it'll let me know if I've missed anyone. Aranya. Okay, and then Akadis. It also means that when I flesh out descriptions and things, it'll update automatically on here, which is something I really want because I don't want that situation where we're what am I trying to say? The thing in Pathfinder where you have to look up 43 things to find out how a single spell works. That is what I'm trying to avoid. Nope. Nope. Just want you to be the same size as the other ones. Thank you. Yeah, it means that anything that gets changed or edited or adjusted becomes you know, adjusts everywhere, not just that's often my problem in World Anvil is I'll change something in one place and then I have to go back and go, oh, I've got to change this in all the other places as well. So androids are here. They fall under constructs. You might line them up. Because this row is going to expand wildly. It's going to go very far, which will mean we'll have to probably pull everything at the top up across as well. Errata is consistent. That is, yeah, I know, but I'm also, I'm an administrator, and I like things to be consistent. I aim for consistency, but it is hard, and also logically, it's also kind of logical because um, even in the real world, consistency is difficult, right? Like anyone who's trying to track all the information about something, the real world often doesn't fit that in a logical way. So it is what it is, and we aim for consistency while accepting that it's probably never going to be completely consistent. But that's okay. That's okay. All right. So we're just going to work our way down this pile and make notes for everybody so that we can have the starting point. The starting point. But you see, what this means is that then I can also have in my ancestry thing, I can have those base, like base HP, base stat buffs, all those base skills, like the sensory skills that we were applying to multiple things. Because once you just have the one note, you can then put it into the web multiple times if you need to, which is dope. That's what I was playing with the other day. I was basically using I was going through like old Pathfinder, like Pathfinder skills, to just get a sense of how that would hang together. And I'm excited about how much easier it's going to be, because we can basically take skills and feats, make them relatively generic, and then apply them as needed, which I think is going to make things easier. So that's cool. Just getting it all in here, as always, But I always knew that I was going to have to do this in some way. And my original plan of making a skill tree in Excel, I think this got too big for that very quickly. Whereas this lets me just expand as I need to. And slot things in, because I can do this. Move up. No, stay in line though. And then I can go, actually I need you guys. No, because we can do this. Because pretty much once I've got all the ancestries in here, I can then put the end ones as far as they need to be, and then make it align them, and then everything will even out, and that just pleases my little heart so much. Like, I can do this. I can literally go, I need the animal people to actually be over here, and I need the plant people to be over here, and then we zoom out and we go select this row and align it, distribute horizontally, and it does it for me, which is awesome. And I realize these need to be moved, and these need to be moved. But I can like move things around in groups, which just makes everything so much easier. So much easier. Okay, where were we? Automaton is a construct. And we're kind of simultaneously creating the logic of the character creation, which means that when we get to building a thing that people are actually using, it's going to be a lot easier to manage that. Oh, wrong button. Just got to get a handle on the controls of, which I will. I'll eventually be doing this like it's breathing. Close the ones we're not using, eh? So cool. Makes me happy in my heart. Okay. There are a lot of animal people. Is the only thing that concerns me. That's alright. Pull this. No. No. For you to pull this whole group over. And it's gridded, so you can like make it align with the grid, which is just awesome. Is there a limit with the software and how many linked items there can be to a cell? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I hope not. I want my grid to be a bit more obvious. Is there a way to change the grid color? Do you think? Snaps to the grid, but like... Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. We'll deal with that later. Alright. Cambions are... I don't know a lot about the software. It is something that I found when I was deep diving on ways to build skill trees, and most of the things I found were to do with building skill trees for like computer games, which obviously is not what I'm doing, but realistically it's not that different really. So so I'm only a few hours ahead of you guys in understanding how the software works, because I played with it a bit over the weekend, but that's it. LIC together. Alright, you can close up, you can close up, you can close up. Faye. Changeling. Like the changelings are going to have a whole bunch of things to do with which archfey are you actually born of? I'm sure they did. It makes sense, to be honest. Oh, yeah. I think a lot of things... I now, often when I read books, I'm like, oh, this person definitely played TTRPGs. You can tell from the way the story is constructed and the way the characters are constructed, like, that's the kind of story it is, you know? Move all of these guys over. I feel like there's going to be a lot of moving everything over constantly, but that's okay. That's okay. That's the point of these sorts of systems, is it lets us do that. It says constructs. Here. That's the last of those guys. I used to try to imagine nearly any book I read as an RPG campaign. I feel like if I'd known, RPGs were not a thing I ever had anything to do with as a child, and I'm sad about that now, because I feel like Tiny Jacks would have freaking eaten this shit up. But yeah, I remember um, encountering like a book that in retrospect I now understand was essentially an RPG book, like a book where you were I think it even had dice rolls and stuff, and I was so confused by it. It made no sense to me at all. Because I really loved like choose your own adventure and that kind of thing. And now in retrospect, I'm like, oh, I see what they were doing. I probably would have loved that if I had actually had the just the context for it, because it didn't really explain it, and yeah. Little Jax would have been very excited about that if she had understood what she was looking at, but she didn't, so. Oh, no. Oh, we did them already. Okay, cool. I just realized like it went really quiet because I was inside my head. Sorry, that happens. I had a lot of debates on what class Captain Ahab was. We did not have Vengeance Paladins back then, so I pushed the idea he was a ranger. My friends argued fighter. Like Moby Dick. I mean, I would also go ranger because if that wasn't a favored enemy, and if there wasn't a hunter's mark involved in that, well, come on. Right? I'm with you. I agree with you. For whatever it's worth. Matt's past friends. Jax is on his side. Yeah, ranger's really the only one that has that level of like commitment to a particular prey, right? That's what I think. Where did we put gnomes? Did we put gnomes here? Yes, we did. Barbarian. I don't know though, because I feel like barbarians are less hyperfixated on the thing than rangers. I think that his the intensity of the chase implies ranger. Also, if you've actually, I assume you've actually read Moby Dick. There are entire chapters in that book about like the rigging on the ships and the specific kinds of whites. Like I think there's a whole chapter on the color of whales and like the difference in the whiteness of their skin and just like, so I feel like that level of detail about your prey and the means to your prey is much more ranger than barbarian. I don't think that barbarians would have that level of just detailed fixation on their prey and the equipment they use to catch it. That's my barbarians are much more like rawr, do the thing, fight, bah. You know? You know what I'm saying. So I'm with you on the ranger thing. That feels most appropriate. Okay. So I suspect because I think I might have said this on Monday's stream. My meds have changed, and one of the results of that is that my passion for my various projects appears to have returned, which is super cool. But also means that I'm probably going to end up working on these things outside of these streams as well as on them. Um, I say that because it's kind of already happening. So there may be a bit of. I'm probably going to do a lot of this like data entry stuff um, in my downtime, and then we will. I'll just have to kind of fill you in on where I'm at on each stream, like what has changed or what I've adjusted and whatever. So there will be some. You won't get to see the entire process, but I still feel like you're going to see the process, but it just will be a little bit more. Yeah, I'll be doing some of the work outside. Yeah, which is exactly why I wanted this, because what it means is that you can go. Because this is just the different, right? And then we're going to have like each one will have an HP line, because the whole point of this is to build it in such a way that people are using the logic of the structure to level their characters as well. And this is the ancestry one, so it's small compared to what the like class skill tree thing is going to be. However, I think that this one will be more top heavy, because I think once you've picked one, what happens underneath it is going to be a lot less. Like, there's not going to be huge amounts of stuff in there. There'll be, beings with wings will potentially be able to upscale their wings, or there'll be specific skills that are fundamental, like genetically fundamental to that species, that you can actively improve on. And because you have that genetic advantage, yeah, you can essentially hone those natural talents. But I'm thinking what I want to do is I want to have an ancestry one. I want to have a background one. So the background will be based on where you're from. So there'll be like Malahia, mountains, like the different places you may have like the individual originated and what you potentially would have learned growing up in that environment. And like, did you grow up as an urchin on the city streets? Did you grow up on ships? Do you, do you have a background as a sailor? Do you have a background as a cook? Like those sort of things. And then again, that'll give you advantages on particular things depending on that background. And then there'll be essentially the class skill trees, which will be the actual adventurer skills, which will include probably weaponry and defense and blah. And then I will probably have a whole separate one for spells, because that's a whole nother thing. Some of the magic will be built into the class one, obviously, because if you're a cleric, you're getting particular magic from your god. But yeah, the idea is that this is much more skill tree based than D&D and Pathfinder is, or that's where I'm going with it. So I'm also thinking I'm going to throw out level limits. So you can just keep building your adventurer forever. In theory, you could multi-class until you could do everything if you played long enough with the same character. Um, that's where I'm going with this. That it's much more based on what is this person learning as they go along. So it's less like restrictive in the like you're a rogue, so these are the only things you can do. It would be more like um, you have skills that you've gotten, or you have natural advantages which you've gotten from your genetics, from your ancestry. You have certain skills and understanding and knowledge that you've got from your background, and then the class skills are much more based on like your journey as an adventurer and what that looks like. So they will be loosely based on the classes, but there will be no reason why a barbarian can't start to learn to pickpocket if that's what they want to do. But they'll have to start at the beginning. So, and you only obviously get a certain number of skill points as you level and blah blah blah. So you have to decide whether you want to be jack of all tradesy or just really really specialized. But I feel like basing it in story like that is much more, or basing it in like, what are your experiences? What have you learned from those experiences? And how do you then use that to make yourself better at what you do? While still having that concept of like, you know, rogues and whatever, but it's a little bit more, because in real life, or even in books, like characters don't slot perfectly into like people and characters don't slot perfectly into like class boxes. And I think their characters are more interesting when they don't do that. And I have also, in my experience of playing these games, which is now quite extensive with a lot of different people all around the world, even within those systems, a lot of the time, characters don't fit perfectly into those boxes. I mean, how many people have known a cleric who doesn't like to heal? Right, like everyone's like, the cleric's the healer, but realistically, you could be a cleric of a god and have no interest at all in fixing other people's problems. So that's kind of the route I'm going. And it's definitely a lot more open and a lot more flexible, and for me that's more interesting. We'll see. We're going to play test it and see what happens. It may be that it's too open and people like to know what they're doing. And it may be that those people should play D&D and not this. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We will play. Anyway, time is up. I need to go to work. I will probably try to get all the information from the spreadsheet into this before the next stream so that we can move on. And yeah, I think this is, once we've got the information in and we've started actually putting stuff into it, it's going to speed up the process significantly. I'm really excited about starting to actually like play out character creation and start playtesting things. So I want to get to that point. So I'm now like feeling urgency to get to that point. So I'm probably going to do quite a bit of work on it before we do this again. Anyway, thanks for coming and hanging with me, and I will be doing a Jax is not a streamer. Jax is a streamer. Jax is not a gamer stream over on Twitch this afternoon. And I will be back with more Azurian nonsense next week. So we will see you then. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, have a beautiful time zone. See you next time. Thanks for being here. Love you guys.
choices you made.